I'm sorry, but if you're tired because of the kids that you chose to have, bitch, me fucking too, man. This shit's stressful.
Hey all, welcome back to Everything Lynn. I'm Lynn. Let's dive right into this video. Now, from what I can remember growing up and whatever I thought about having children, I remember simply thinking that it was the natural progression of life. You know, I'd have one day and it'd just be so cute and I'd love it, and one day it would grow, and that was the extent of my knowledge. Besides the occasional, it's hard and babies cry, no one told me what parenting actually entails. Not my mom, not my family, not TV. No one could have prepared me for this. So boom, I had my first one by 21, and then I had my second one at 24. And here are the things that I wish I had known before I started having children. Now, disclaimer, I know that some of these things on this list might seem very painfully obvious to some of you guys, but being raised and being a product of Disney, Delulu, happily ever after type ideals, I promise you, some of these things I just did not think about or realize until I was drowning in the reality of things. So, number one, this goes for men and women. Who you have a child with can make or break your entire parenting experience. People think it's so cute to just, oh, we'll go have fun a baby, or we'll just have a kid together and that'll tie me to them forever. You guys, that will tie you to them for the foreseeable future. So I hope to God that you like and can get along with this person. If they are unhelpful right now, if they are a selfish type person, if they are argumentative, if they are abusive in any way, you know, like, you have to take these things into consideration. Not only that, also expenses, you know, like, do they have a stable job, a career? Are you guys talking about, you know, like, what roles you guys are playing in your child's life? Do you know their parenting styles? You know, because people butt heads about things like that once they have kids. And it's like, oh, I never knew this about you. And then also, you have to think, it's like, when you have a child, you're not just having it with that person, right? You have to encompass the entirety of their family. Your child now has your parents as grandma and grandpa, and their parents as grandma and grandpa. There are aunties and uncles, cousins, you know, take all of that into consideration. Are these people like the type of people that you want around your kids for the foreseeable future, you know? Because you're not going to be able to block them from being in your kid's life, especially if the other parent, like, is close with their family. And you can't be like, oh no, but I don't like that side of the family. That's just too damn bad, you know? Like, so these are things to consider. That's a very important number one, and that's why it's number one on my list. And I know some people might think like, oh, well, if parenting with this other person doesn't work out, I'll just take my kid and bounce. And, you know, it's entirely possible to do, but raising kids alone in this economy is not for the weak. Which brings me to point number two. It takes a village to raise a child, and you will find you are on a deserted island more often than not. In today's day and age, you know, jobs have people move away a lot of the times. So you can find yourself in situations where you are just isolated, and you'll have to choose, you know, and prioritize job versus your kid's childcare. Childcare is expensive, and not every daycare is created the same. So a lot of parents wind up finding themselves having to forego their jobs or careers to ensure that their kid is well taken care of at home. Not everyone has the luxury of having a village or a co-parent, so the stress of juggling things to make ends meet is a constant. Number three, this one, it didn't really apply to me, and I'm not saying that as like a holier than thou type thing, but I'm only mentioning this one because I've heard it being said, and I've been like, the saying goes like this: I want a child so that I can have someone that loves me unconditionally. Now, this should go without saying, but I think this needs to be understood by some people. Babies don't naturally come out the womb singing your praises and saying, Mommy, I love you, thank you so much for having me. Babies come out with wants and needs only. They are like little seeds that you plant, but you have to water and care for them before you see any fruits of your labor. And even then, you might have thought you planted an apple tree and get a pear. My point being, one, you only get what you give. So don't expect anything from them out the gate. And number two, you might not even get the return that you're expecting on your initial investment. Your child may come out with disabilities or have a completely different personality than what you hoped for. Your child may not grow up to have your idea of success. You know, they could be Joe Schmo bum off the street. You would just never know. But that's the risk that you take with having a child. So if your biggest reasoning for having one is some idea of unconditional love or an ideal situation of parenting, you should probably seriously consider all these things. If you think about it, bringing a child into this world, the dumpster fire that it is, and you bring them here for the sole purpose of loving you, that's a pretty selfish reason, I think. And like, parenting is one of the most selfless things that you're going to wind up experiencing. It is a 24/7, 365 days of the week. No mental days, no sick days, no holidays off type deal. So you really have to mentally prepare yourself for that. Them loving you unconditionally is just, it's not going to happen right away. Number 4, no one told me how lonely parenting gets. There will be many outings and experiences that you will wind up missing out on. When I had my first child at 21, I didn't realize I'd have to mourn the loss of the life that I saw for myself before having children, and also the life as I knew it, you know, as a young adult. Then you add that to not identifying with my new mom body, you know, not feeling as sexual, and then realizing that society loves babies but really hates moms. You know, we get Mother's Day, sure, but as far as like your jobs, how they treat you, and then like, again, like how people kind of make you feel for being a parent, for having kids, like I wasn't prepared for that. So I think as a parent, to a degree, there will always be times where you will always wonder what life would have been like if you didn't have the kids that you have. You know, sometimes I sit and wonder what life would have been like if I decided not to have the kids that I have. But simultaneously, I know that I would cease to exist if tomorrow, for whatever reason, they weren't walking this earth with me anymore. Like, I would simply take myself out the game because they are quite literally the reason I breathe. And I know a lot of parents feel that way. You know, like, we wonder what it would have been like, but now that we know them, you are prying them from my cold dead hand, you know? Like, there are a lot of parents, and I feel like this, like, they are everything. They are the beats of my heart that keep my blood flowing now. I adore those kids, and I am so blessed that they chose me to be their mom. And these are the things I wish I had known before I chose to have them. These are things that I wish I was more mentally prepared for before I'd had them, because it's a lifelong deal. And these are just some, you know. You guys make sure to leave your things that you'd wish that you'd known in the comments below. Give some heads up to parents or people who are thinking about having kids. You know, not just the bad things, obviously, because there are many, many good things about having kids. But you want, again, I wish people were more real about like this lifelong contract that you've given yourself in having kids. You know, they're just not the cute little things that you have, and then they grow up like they are yours. They are yours forever and ever. Amen. You know, so those are just my thoughts, and I will see you guys in the next video.